What if I told you that one of the most dangerous dark side assassins in the galaxy was never allowed to reach her true potential? What if Asajj Ventress, the woman who struck fear into the hearts of Jedi Knights across the Clone Wars, had been given the one thing she desperately sought, the title of Sith Lord? Today, we're diving into an alternate timeline where Count Dooku doesn't betray his apprentice, where Darth Sidious sees opportunity instead of threat, and where the fate of the entire galaxy hangs on one woman's ascension to power. This is What If Asajj Ventress Became a Sith Lord. Before we explore what could have been, we need to understand what actually happened. Asajj Ventress wasn't just some random dark side user. She was a survivor, shaped by tragedy and loss from the very beginning. Born on Dathomir to the Night Sisters, she was given away as a child and ended up on Ratatak, one of the most brutal worlds in the Outer Rim. Her master, a Jedi named Kai Narek, trained her in the ways of the Force, but when he was killed by pirates, something inside her broke. She descended into darkness, becoming a warlord on Ratatak until Count Dooku discovered her. Dooku saw potential in Ventress. He trained her as his secret apprentice, knowing full well that Darth Sidious would never allow it if he knew the full extent of her training. And that's exactly what happened. During the Clone Wars, when Ventress became too powerful, too skilled, too dangerous, Sidious ordered Dooku to eliminate her. The betrayal was devastating. Dooku arranged for her apparent death, sending her own droid army to kill her. She survived barely and returned to Dathomir, broken and abandoned by the only purpose she'd known. In our timeline, this betrayal set Ventress on a path toward eventual redemption. She worked as a bounty hunter, helped Ahsoka Tano when she was framed for murder, and even sacrificed herself to save Quinlan Vos from the dark side. But what if none of that ever happened? What if, instead of ordering her death, Darth Sidious saw an opportunity? Our point of divergence comes during the Clone Wars, specifically during the period when Sidious contacts Dooku about the Ventress problem. In the original timeline, Sidious tells Dooku that Ventress has become too powerful, that she threatens the rule of two, and that she must be eliminated. But let's imagine a different conversation. Let's imagine that Sidious, always playing the long game, sees something else. He sees a weapon that can be used, refined, and controlled. He sees a way to test Anakin Skywalker differently. He sees chaos that can be directed. Sidious contacts Dooku through their secure holographic channel. The conversation starts the same way. Dooku, my apprentice, your assassin has become too powerful. But instead of ordering her death, Sidious continues, she has potential that should not be wasted. If she is truly as powerful as you claim, then perhaps it is time we acknowledge what she has become. Make her a true Sith. Give her the title she craves. Let us see if she can survive the trials that come with such power. Dooku is stunned. He understands immediately what his master is suggesting. By making Ventress an official Sith Lord, they would be openly violating the rule of two, the ancient doctrine that there should only be two Sith at any time, a master and an apprentice. But Sidious has always been willing to bend the rules when it suits him. He had Maul. He has plans for Anakin. And now he sees how Ventress can fit into his grand design. Perhaps she can push Dooku to greater heights. Perhaps she can serve as an alternative if Anakin fails. Or perhaps she will simply destroy herself in the pursuit of power, eliminating a potential problem while appearing to reward her. Dooku doesn't fully understand his master's reasoning, but he never does. Sidious operates on a level of manipulation that even Dooku, former Jedi Master and political mastermind, struggles to comprehend. So Dooku agrees. He will elevate Ventress. He will give her what she has always wanted. But in doing so, he seals his own fate in ways he cannot yet imagine. The ceremony takes place on Sereno, in the depths of Dooku's palace where the dark side flows like water. Ventress kneels before her master, and for once there is no deception in his words. You have proven yourself time and again, Asajj. You have faced Jedi Knights and survived. You have led armies and conquered planets. You have bled for the Sith cause, and now you shall be rewarded. Rise, Darth Ventress, and take your place as a true Sith Lord. She rises, and in that moment, everything changes. The title isn't just words, it's power made manifest. It's permission to stop holding back, to embrace the rage and pain that have defined her entire life. As Darth Ventress, she no longer needs to wonder if she's enough. She no longer needs to fear betrayal from Dooku because she now has the protection, however minimal, of Sith tradition. She is no longer an assassin or a disposable tool. She is a Sith Lord, and that means something in the galaxy's dark underworld. But titles alone don't make power. Ventress knows this, so she throws herself into her training with renewed fury. Dooku, bound by his master's orders, actually begins teaching her the deeper secrets of the Sith, not just lightsaber techniques or force powers, but the philosophy, the history, the true nature of the dark side. She learns about the ancient Sith Empire, about Darth Bane and the Rule of Two, about the wars that shaped the galaxy millennia ago. She learns that power isn't just about strength, it's about cunning, patience, and the willingness to do whatever is necessary. Her lightsaber skills, already formidable, become even deadlier. She develops new techniques, combining her Jarkai dual-blade style with Makashi precision she learns from Dooku. She becomes a perfect synthesis of aggression and elegance, a whirlwind of crimson blades that few can withstand. Her force abilities expand as well. Her telekinesis becomes more refined, capable of manipulating multiple objects with precision. Her force choke, once a crude display of anger, becomes a surgical tool. She even begins experimenting with force lightning, though it takes time to master. The immediate effect on the Clone Wars is dramatic. Where before Ventress operated in the shadows, leading surgical strikes and assassinations, now she commands whole theaters of war. Grievous, the supreme commander of the droid army, finds himself sharing authority with a Sith Lord, and he hates it. The tension between them is immediate and intense. Grievous sees Ventress as an upstart, a force user given power she hasn't earned through pure military achievement. Ventress sees Grievous as a cybernetic abomination, a coward hiding in a droid shell. Their rivalry nearly tears the Separatist military leadership apart. During the Battle of Kamino, they actually come to blows over strategy. Grievous wants to lead a direct assault on the cloning facilities. Ventress argues for a more subtle approach, using her knowledge of infiltration and assassination to sabotage the facilities from within. The argument escalates until Ventress uses the Force to hurl Grievous across the command deck. Only Dooku's intervention prevents them from killing each other. But this rivalry also pushes both of them to achieve more. Grievous, desperate to prove that he's superior to any Force user, leads increasingly bold attacks. His assault on Coruscant, the operation that leads to the kidnapping of Chancellor Palpatine, happens earlier and is far more successful in this timeline. Meanwhile, Ventress leads her own campaigns, and they are brutal. She personally leads the assault on the Jedi Temple on Almaz, slaughtering everyone inside and claiming ancient Sith artifacts stored there. She orchestrates the massacre at Deveron, not just killing the Jedi, but making it a statement, a warning to the Order that nowhere is safe. The Jedi Council recognizes the threat. Master Yoda senses the shift in the Force. Another Sith Lord has risen, he announces during a council meeting. Stronger than before, Ventress has become. Send our best knights we must to counter this threat. But who can stand against a fully realized Sith Lord who has spent years fighting and killing Jedi? Obi-Wan Kenobi volunteers immediately. He's faced Ventress more than anyone else, and he feels responsible for stopping her. But this isn't the same woman he fought on Rugosa or Kamino. This is Darth Ventress, a true Sith Lord, and she's terrifyingly more powerful. Their first encounter after her elevation happens on Christophsis. Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka are defending the planet when Ventress arrives with a fleet. She doesn't bother with the usual banter or games. She simply attacks. The duel is savage. Ventress's new mastery of the dark side makes her faster, stronger, more vicious than ever before. She fights all three of them simultaneously, and she's winning. Ahsoka nearly dies in the first 30 seconds, saved only by Anakin's desperate force push. Obi-Wan finds himself on the defensive, barely parrying her strikes. It's Anakin who finally drives her back, channeling his anger at seeing Ahsoka nearly killed. The dark side flows through him in that moment, and for just a few seconds, he matches Ventress blow for blow. She recognizes it immediately. You feel it, don't you, Skywalker? The power of the dark side flowing through you. You could be so much more than a Jedi. Together we could overthrow our masters and rule the galaxy as we see fit. It's the same offer every Sith makes, but coming from Ventress, someone who has fought beside and against him for years, it carries weight. Anakin hesitates just for a moment, and that's when Obi-Wan intervenes, pulling his former Padawan back from the edge. But the damage is done. Ventress has planted a seed and she knows it. Over the following months, she makes a point of encountering Anakin whenever possible. Not to kill him, but to talk, to tempt, to show him what power really looks like. She tells him about the Sith philosophy, about peace through strength, about freedom from the Jedi's restrictive code. She tells him that she understands his anger, his frustration, his fear of loss. "I see you, Skywalker," she says during one encounter. "I see the chains the Jedi have placed on you. I see how they hold you back, how they make you deny your true nature. You love Senator Amidala, don't you? The Jedi would force you to abandon her. The Sith would help you protect her. This is dangerous ground, and it affects Sidious's plans in unexpected ways." The Chancellor had been carefully grooming Anakin, slowly turning him toward the dark side through years of manipulation. But Ventress is accelerating the process in ways Sidious didn't anticipate. She's too direct, too honest about what she's offering. Sidious prefers subtlety, prefers to let Anakin think he's making his own choices. Ventress is simply laying out the choice clearly: stay weak with the Jedi, or become powerful with the Sith. Meanwhile, Ventress's relationship with Dooku is deteriorating. The rule of two isn't just a guideline, it's a fundamental truth of the Sith. There should only be a master and an apprentice. The apprentice seeks to overthrow the master, proving they are stronger and worthy of training their own apprentice. The master seeks to maintain their power while pushing the apprentice to greater heights. It's a cycle of betrayal and evolution that has defined the Sith for a millennium. With Ventress now officially a Sith Lord, this dynamic becomes explicit. She no longer hides her ambition. During one training session on Sereno, she actually tries to kill Dooku. The fight destroys half of his palace. Dooku is still stronger, still more experienced, but Ventress is younger, faster, and absolutely ruthless. She uses every trick she's learned, every technique, every dirty tactic. She summons the spirits of the Night Sisters, her Force witchcraft combining with her Sith training to create something unique and terrifying. Dooku survives. Barely, and he's forced to acknowledge a terrible truth. She will kill me eventually. If not tomorrow, then next month or next year. She grows stronger every day and I grow older. This is the way of the Sith, but knowing it doesn't make it easier to accept. For the first time since becoming a Sith Lord, Dooku feels genuine fear. Not of the Jedi, not of the Republic, but of his own apprentice. He contacts Sidious, seeking guidance. "My master, Ventress grows too powerful. Perhaps it is time we reconsidered this arrangement." But Sidious is pleased with how events are unfolding. "Let her push you, my apprentice. Let her make you stronger. The Sith are at their best when under pressure. And if you cannot withstand one former Night Sister, perhaps you are not worthy of being my apprentice after all." The message is clear: survive or be replaced. Dooku realizes that Sidious has been planning this all along. Ventress isn't just a weapon or a tool. She's a test, a way to push Dooku to his absolute limits or eliminate him if he fails. And possibly she's a replacement waiting in the wings. Sidious always has contingencies, always has backup plans. If Anakin doesn't fall to the dark side as planned, if something happens to Dooku before Order 66 is ready, then Darth Ventress could step into that role. This realization changes Dooku fundamentally. He stops holding back in their confrontations. He stops teaching her with patience and begins trying to teach her through pain. Their training sessions become death matches that only end when one of them is too injured to continue. The Separatist leadership watches in horror as their two Sith Lords tear each other apart. Even Sidious, watching from afar, begins to wonder if he's miscalculated. The chaos is useful, but if his apprentices actually kill each other, his plans could be severely disrupted. The turning point comes during the Battle of Baz Pity. In our timeline, this battle saw Ventress already broken and betrayed, not even present at the conflict. But in this timeline, she's very much involved. The Republic launches a major assault on the Separatist position, led by Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. Grievous commands the droid forces while Ventress leads the Separatist Force users, a group of dark Jedi and fallen Jedi she's assembled as her own strike team. The battle is chaos. Republic forces push deep into Separatist territory, but they're taking massive casualties. Then Ventress makes her move. She doesn't attack the Republic forces. She attacks Grievous. In the middle of the battle, surrounded by thousands of droids and soldiers, she ignites her lightsabers and goes after the Supreme Commander of the droid army. "This is my army now," she tells him. "You've failed too many times." The Separatists need true leadership, not a mechanical coward. The fight between Ventress and Grievous is spectacular and brutal. Grievous, with his 4 arms and cybernetic enhancements, is one of the most dangerous lightsaber duelists in the galaxy. He's killed dozens of Jedi. But Ventress has something he doesn't: the Force. She uses it ruthlessly, crushing his joints, pulling away his weapons, even ripping open his chest plate to expose his vital organs. Grievous fights with desperate fury, knowing he's fighting for his life, but in the end, he's no match for a true Sith Lord. Ventress tears out his heart and lungs, the organic components that keep him alive, and watches him die. Then she turns to the assembled droid army and declares herself the new Supreme Commander. The droids, programmed to follow the Separatist chain of command, accept this. After all, she's a Sith Lord, one of their creators and leaders. With Grievous gone, she's the natural choice. This changes everything. The Republic forces, who had been pushing forward, suddenly find themselves facing a reorganized and far more effective enemy. Ventress isn't just a better strategist than Grievous. She can use the Force to coordinate her forces in ways he never could. The Battle of Boz Pity turns from a Republic victory into a bloody stalemate. Obi-Wan and Anakin are forced to retreat, having achieved none of their objectives and lost thousands of troops. When Dooku learns what Ventress has done, he's furious. She's overstepped her bounds, taken control of military assets without authorization, and killed one of the Separatists' most valuable commanders. He demands that Sidious order her to stand down, but Sidious refuses. She has proven herself strong, the Dark Lord says. Let her command the armies. Let us see what she can accomplish. You focus on the political front, Lord Tyrannus. Let Darth Ventress handle the military. It's a demotion disguised as strategic repositioning, and Dooku knows it. He's being pushed aside, made irrelevant, while his former apprentice takes center stage. The balance of power within the Sith has shifted, and Dooku realizes with growing horror that he might not be Sidious's chosen heir anymore. Everything he's worked for, all the Jedi he's killed, all the principles he's abandoned, it might all be for nothing if Ventress succeeds where he has failed. Under Ventress's command, the Separatist military becomes far more effective. She understands that the droids' weakness is their predictability, so she introduces chaos into their tactics. She uses feints, ambushes, and psychological warfare in ways Grievous never did. She also isn't afraid to sacrifice entire droid divisions if it means achieving an objective. Droids can be replaced. Victories cannot. Her most devastating campaign is the assault on the Jedi Temple on Coruscant itself. In the original timeline, this happens during Grievous's kidnapping of Palpatine. But in this timeline, Ventress plans something far more audacious. She launches a multi-pronged attack on the capital, using dozens of infiltration teams to bypass the planet's defenses. Her target isn't the Senate, it's the Jedi Temple, and her goal isn't to occupy it, it's to destroy it completely. The attack happens in the middle of the night. Ventress personally leads a team of dark Jedi and commando droids into the temple. They bypass the defenses using codes stolen from previous operations and knowledge Ventress gained during her years of fighting Jedi. By the time the alarm is raised, they're already inside, and it's a massacre. Younglings, Padawans, even some knights are cut down before they can properly defend themselves. Master Yoda and Mace Windu rush to defend the temple, but Ventress has planned for this. She's set up Force-sensitive explosives throughout the building, devices that will detonate based on specific Force signatures. As the Jedi Masters arrive, she triggers them, bringing down entire sections of the temple. Hundreds die in the initial explosions. Hundreds more are trapped in the rubble. Ventress faces Mace Windu in the ruins. This is their first true duel, and it's everything you'd expect from two masters of lightsaber combat. Windu's Vapad style, which channels his inner darkness through the fight, meets Ventress's pure dark side fury. For long minutes, neither can gain an advantage. Then Ventress does something unexpected. She stops fighting and starts talking. You fight like a Sith, Master Windu. You know it's true. Vapad draws on the dark side, channels it through you. You're closer to us than you are to the rest of your order. It's a psychological attack as much as a physical one. Windu has always struggled with his proximity to the dark side, has always wondered if his use of Vapad makes him less of a Jedi. Ventress is exploiting that doubt, trying to break his concentration. And for just a moment it works. He hesitates and she nearly kills him. Only Yoda's intervention saves the champion of the Jedi, the ancient Grandmaster arriving just in time to force-push Ventress away. Now facing two of the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy, Ventress knows she can't win. But she's already accomplished her goal. The temple is in ruins, hundreds of Jedi are dead, and the Order has been dealt a devastating blow. She escapes using a stolen shuttle, leaving the Jedi to count their dead and wonder how their greatest fortress could fall so easily. The attack on the temple changes the entire dynamic of the Clone Wars. The Jedi, already stretched thin across the galaxy, are now dealing with massive casualties and the loss of their central base of operations. Morale plummets. Many in the Republic begin to question whether the Jedi are really capable of winning the war. And Palpatine, always ready to exploit a crisis, uses the attack to push through even more authoritarian measures. The Republic needs stronger leadership, he argues. We need to give the Chancellor more power to protect us from these separatist terrorists. But while the Republic reels, fractures are forming within the Sith. Ventress's success has made her arrogant. She begins to believe that she doesn't need Dooku or even Sidious. She has an army, she has power, and she has proven herself more effective than any other separatist leader. Why should she bow to anyone? The dark side whispers to her constantly, feeding her pride, her anger, her ambition. You could rule the galaxy, it tells her. You could be the Dark Lord of the Sith. She starts making plans. She knows she can't defeat Sidious alone. He's too powerful, too cunning. But perhaps she doesn't need to face him alone. There are others who hate the Sith Lords, others who might be convinced to join her cause. She thinks of Darth Maul, the former Sith Lord who was cut in half by Obi-Wan Kenobi and has recently resurfaced, mad with pain and rage, but still incredibly powerful. She thinks of the Night Sisters, her former clan, who have their own grudge against Dooku and the Sith. She even thinks of Anakin Skywalker, the powerful Jedi who she knows is teetering on the edge of darkness. Her first move is to travel to Dathomir. She hasn't returned to her homeworld since becoming a Sith Lord, and the reunion is complicated. Mother Talzin, the leader of the Night Sisters, greets her with a mixture of pride and suspicion. "You have become powerful, my daughter," Talzin says. "But have you forgotten where you came from? Have you forgotten that the Sith betrayed you once before?" Ventress hasn't forgotten. In fact, that's why she's here. She proposes an alliance. Together, the Sith and the Night Sisters can overthrow the Jedi and the Republic. But first, they need to eliminate Darth Sidious and Count Dooku. Mother Talzin is intrigued. The Night Sisters have their own reasons for hating Dooku. He used them and discarded them just like he did to Ventress the first time. But Talzin is also cautious. She's seen Sith Lords before, seen their promises and their betrayals. "Why should I trust you?" she asks. "You bear the title of Sith now. What's to stop you from betraying us as Dooku did?" Ventress has to prove herself. She undergoes a Night Sister ritual, one that binds her to the clan through blood and magic. It's painful, excruciating even, but she endures it. When it's done, she carries both Sith power and Night Sister magic within her, making her something unique in the galaxy. She's no longer just a Sith Lord or just a Night Sister. She's both, and the combination is terrifying, with the Night Sisters backing her. Ventress next seeks out Darth Maul. Finding him isn't difficult. He's been building his own criminal empire, the Shadow Collective, using a combination of force and fear to unite the galaxy's underworld. When Ventress arrives on Mandalore, where Maul has established his base, she's greeted by Death Watch warriors and members of the Pike Syndicate. They escort her to Maul's throne room, where the former Sith Lord sits, his mechanical legs a reminder of what the Jedi did to him. Maul recognizes her immediately. "Dooku's apprentice," he says with a sneer. "Come to challenge me, or to beg for mercy?" But Ventress surprises him. She bows, actually shows respect, and makes her offer. "I know what Sidious did to you," she says. "He threw you away when you were no longer useful. He did the same to me. But we're both stronger now, stronger than we were when we served him. Together we could overthrow him. We could destroy the Sith as they exist and rebuild them according to our own vision." Maul is tempted. He hates Sidious with a passion that borders on madness. The betrayal, being cut in half and left for dead, the years of suffering, all of it fuels his desire for revenge. But he's also suspicious. "The rule of two is absolute," he says. "There can only be a master and an apprentice. You propose something different, but the dark side doesn't work that way. Power must be concentrated or it dissipates." Ventress argues back. The rule of two was created by Darth Bane 1,000 years ago, she says. But times change. The Sith of old, before the rule of two, commanded armies and ruled empires. They were powerful beyond imagination. Perhaps Bane was wrong. Perhaps the Sith are stronger when there are many of us. Not just two. It's heresy, absolute heresy to the Sith philosophy. But it resonates with Maul. He's built his own empire without following the rule of two. He's proven that a Sith can have power without being part of the traditional master-apprentice dynamic. After long consideration, he agrees to an alliance. Not because he trusts Ventress, he doesn't, but because he sees an opportunity to strike back at the man who ruined his life. With Maul and the Night Sisters as allies, Ventress begins planning the impossible, the assassination of Darth Sidious. But she knows she can't just attack him directly. Sidious is too powerful, too well protected. She needs to draw him out, make him vulnerable, and she knows exactly how to do it. She'll use Anakin Skywalker as bait. Ventress has been watching Anakin throughout the war, has seen his power and his potential. She knows that Sidious has plans for him, that the Chancellor has been grooming the young Jedi for something important. If she can turn Anakin to her side, or at least make Sidious think she's turning him, then the Dark Lord will have to act personally. He'll have to reveal himself to protect his investment. She arranges a meeting with Anakin on Tatooine, his home planet. She knows he returns there occasionally, drawn by memories and unresolved trauma. When he arrives, she's waiting for him at the Lars homestead where his mother was buried. It's a brutal psychological play, using his pain against him. She talks to him about loss, about anger, about the ways the Jedi have failed him. "You couldn't save your mother," she says. "The Jedi Code says you shouldn't even have tried. But I understand. I lost everything too. The Jedi took my master from me. The Sith betrayed me. I've been alone for so long, just like you." Anakin is conflicted. He hates Ventress, has fought her dozens of times, has seen the atrocities she's committed. But he also recognizes truth in her words. He does feel alone. He does feel like the Jedi don't understand him. And he is afraid, terrified of losing Padme the way he lost his mother. Ventress offers him what Sidious has been promising in subtler ways. Power to protect those he loves. Freedom from the Jedi's restrictive code. Acceptance of his emotions rather than denial. But Anakin isn't ready to fall yet. He refuses her offer and attacks, trying to capture or kill her. They fight among the sand dunes of Tatooine, their lightsabers illuminating the desert night. But Ventress isn't trying to win. She's trying to plant seeds, to make Anakin think about her offer. She could kill him. She's actually stronger at this point, but she holds back. When the fight reaches a stalemate, she simply leaves, disappearing into the night and leaving Anakin with more questions than answers. The encounter doesn't go unnoticed. Sidious, through his network of spies and informants, learns about Ventress's approach to Anakin. He's furious. She's interfering with his carefully laid plans, trying to corrupt his chosen apprentice. This cannot stand. For the first time, Sidious begins to regret elevating Ventress to Sith Lord. She's become too independent, too powerful, too much of a threat to his ultimate goal. She needs to be eliminated, but carefully. If he acts too obviously, it will reveal his identity as the Sith Lord controlling both sides of the war. Sidious decides to use Dooku as his weapon. He contacts the Count and gives him explicit orders. Kill Ventress or be killed yourself. There is no more room for hesitation, no more room for mercy. She has become a threat to our plans, and she must be eliminated. Dooku accepts the mission, knowing that this is his last chance to prove his worth to his master. The confrontation happens on Sereno. Dooku lures Ventress back to his palace under the pretense of discussing strategy. When she arrives, she immediately senses the trap. The dark side swirls through the palace like a storm, concentrated and deadly. Dooku emerges from the shadows, his lightsaber already ignited. "This ends now," he says. "One of us leaves here alive. The other doesn't." The duel between Dooku and Ventress is the most brutal fight either has ever experienced. Years of resentment, jealousy, and fear explode into violence. They tear apart the palace, bringing down walls and ceilings, shattering windows and burning tapestries. Dooku uses every technique he knows, elegant Makashi strikes combined with devastating force powers. He throws lightning, crushes stone, even attempts to dominate her mind. But Ventress has grown beyond his expectations. She counters his Makashi with her own dual-blade ferocity. She absorbs his force lightning and throws it back at him. When he tries to dominate her mind, she uses Night Sister magic to create illusions, filling his vision with phantoms and horrors. The fight is as much psychological as physical. each trying to break the other's will as much as their body. For hours they battle, neither able to gain a decisive advantage. Dooku is more skilled, more experienced, but Ventress is younger, faster, and has the power of both the Sith and the Night Sisters flowing through her. Eventually, exhaustion begins to set in. Both are wounded, bleeding from dozens of cuts. Their force reserves are nearly depleted. And that's when Ventress makes her final play. She reaches out through the Force to the Night Sisters on Dathomir. Through the ritual she underwent, she's connected to them and they to her. She calls on their power, channeling the collective strength of the entire clan. Green mist begins to fill the palace, the signature of Night Sister magic. Dooku, recognizing the danger, tries to flee, but it's too late. The magic wraps around him, binding him in place, and Ventress closes in for the kill. She doesn't make it quick. She makes him suffer, makes him feel every moment of pain and fear. "For all the times you betrayed me," she says. "For all the times you made me feel weak. For all the times you held me back. This is for all of it." She runs him through with both lightsabers, piercing his heart from front and back. Count Dooku, Darth Tyrannus, one of the most powerful Sith Lords of his generation, dies in his own palace, killed by the apprentice he once dismissed as a mere tool. With Dooku dead, Ventress claims his position. She declares herself the new head of the Separatist movement, the supreme leader of their cause. Many Separatist senators and military leaders are shocked, horrified even, but they have no choice but to accept it. She has the power, she has the army, and she's proven herself more effective than any previous leader. The Separatist Council bends the knee to Darth Ventress, the new Dark Lord of the Separatists. Sidious watches all of this with carefully concealed fury. Dooku was supposed to win. Ventress was supposed to be eliminated. Instead, his apprentice is dead, and a rogue Sith Lord has taken control of half the galaxy. For the first time in decades, Darth Sidious is actually concerned. Not afraid, not yet, but concerned. Ventress represents something unprecedented. A Sith who doesn't follow the rules, who doesn't respect the ancient traditions. She's dangerous in ways he didn't anticipate. He considers revealing himself, using his position as Supreme Chancellor to eliminate her politically or militarily. But that's too risky. It would expose him as the Sith Lord before he's ready, before Order 66 is prepared. Instead, he decides to accelerate his plans. He needs Anakin to fall now, immediately, before Ventress can corrupt him further. And he needs to eliminate Ventress using the Republic's military might, painting her as the ultimate villain that the entire galaxy must unite to defeat. Sidious begins manipulating events to create a crisis. He arranges for Separatist forces under Ventress's command to attack key Republic targets, making her actions seem even more monstrous than they already are. He feeds intelligence to the Jedi Council about Ventress's location, her plans, her weaknesses. He positions Anakin Skywalker to be the hero who will finally bring her down. Everything is orchestrated to push Anakin toward the dark side while eliminating the threat Ventress represents. But Ventress isn't naive. She knows Sidious is hunting her, knows that the Supreme Chancellor has resources she can barely imagine. So she accelerates her own plans. She reaches out to Anakin one final time, but not with offers of power or temptation. This time she tells him the truth. "The Chancellor is a Sith Lord," she says during a secret meeting arranged through encrypted channels. "His name is Darth Sidious, and he's been manipulating this entire war from both sides. He's been grooming you, Skywalker, turning you into his next apprentice. Everything that's happened to you, your fear of loss, your anger at the Council, your visions of your wife dying, he's been feeding all of it." Anakin refuses to believe it at first. Chancellor Palpatine has been his friend, his mentor, his supporter for years. The idea that he could be a Sith Lord seems absurd. But Ventress provides evidence. She has recordings stolen from Separatist communications showing orders that could only come from someone with intimate knowledge of Republic strategy. She has testimony from captured Republic officers who were secretly working for Dooku and mentioned a master above him. She connects dots that Anakin has been too close to see. The revelation shakes Anakin to his core. If Ventress is telling the truth, then everything he thought he knew is a lie. His friendship with Palpatine, his trust in the Republic's leadership, his entire understanding of the war, all of it is based on deception. But why should he trust Ventress? She's a Sith Lord herself, a murderer who's killed countless Jedi. She could be lying, manipulating him, just as she claims Palpatine has been. Ventress understands his doubt. "I'm not asking you to trust me," she says. "I'm asking you to investigate. Use that brilliant mind of yours. Look at the evidence. Ask yourself why the Chancellor always seems to benefit from every crisis. Ask yourself why he's accumulated so much power. Ask yourself why he's always pushing for more violence, more war, more emergency measures. And most importantly, ask yourself why he's so interested in you specifically. Why he spent so much time and effort cultivating your friendship. She leaves him with that, disappearing before he can decide whether to capture her or not. And Anakin is left in turmoil. He doesn't want to believe it, but he can't ignore the doubts she's planted. He begins to investigate quietly, carefully, using his position as a Jedi General to access classified information. What he finds horrifies him. The Chancellor has been involved in decisions that prolonged the war, that increased casualties, that benefited him politically. There are unexplained meetings, suspicious communications, patterns that make sense only if Palpatine is playing both sides. Anakin brings his concerns to Obi-Wan, but carefully not revealing everything Ventress told him. He frames it as suspicious activity he's noticed, potential corruption or incompetence. Obi-Wan is concerned but not convinced. The Chancellor has been a strong leader during difficult times, he argues. It's natural that he would make controversial decisions, but we should investigate if you truly believe something is wrong. The investigation goes slowly, too slowly for Anakin's comfort. Meanwhile, the war reaches a critical point. Ventress launches a massive assault on Coruscant, not to kidnap the Chancellor as Grievous did in the original timeline, but to expose him. She attacks with her entire fleet, breaking through the planetary defenses through sheer force. Her target is the Senate building, specifically the Chancellor's office. She's going to reveal Sidious to the entire galaxy, whether he wants it or not. The Battle of Coruscant in this timeline is even more devastating than in the original. Ventress leads from the front, personally commanding her flagship as it descends toward the Senate district. The Republic fleet scrambles to defend the capital, and the sky above Coruscant becomes a chaotic battlefield of exploding ships and falling debris. Thousands die in the initial assault. Entire city blocks are destroyed by crashing vessels. Anakin and Obi-Wan rush to defend the Chancellor, still believing they're protecting the Republic's leader from a separatist assassin. They arrive at Palpatine's office just as Ventress does, crashing through the window on a commandeered speeder. The confrontation is tense. Ventress stands on one side, lightsabers ignited. Anakin and Obi-Wan stand on the other, protecting Palpatine. And in the middle, the Supreme Chancellor himself, acting confused and frightened, playing his role perfectly. "Tell them," Ventress demands, pointing her lightsaber at Palpatine. "Tell them who you really are. Tell them about Darth Sidious. Tell them how you've been orchestrating this war from the very beginning." Palpatine acts shocked, hurt even. "My dear, you're clearly deranged," he says. "The stress of war has broken your mind. Please, General Skywalker, General Kenobi, help this poor woman before she hurts herself or others." But Anakin hesitates. He's been investigating, he's seen the evidence, and Ventress's accusations align with what he's discovered. "Chancellor," he says slowly, "I need you to answer some questions. About your emergency powers, about your communications with separatist leadership, about your relationship with Count Dooku before the war." Palpatine's mask slips, just for a moment, and Anakin sees something dark behind his eyes. That moment of recognition is all Ventress needs. She attacks, not Palpatine, but the careful web of deception he's built. She pulls out data chips and throws them to Anakin. Encrypted communications between Palpatine and Dooku. Financial records showing the Chancellor funding both sides of the war. Video recordings of meetings that should never have happened. Everything she's gathered over months of investigation, all of it proving that Chancellor Palpatine and Darth Sidious are the same person. Palpatine realizes his deception is crumbling. He could keep lying, keep manipulating, but with Anakin starting to doubt and Ventress providing evidence, the truth will come out eventually, so he makes a choice. He drops the pretense. His face, always so kind and grandfatherly, transforms into something cruel and terrible. The dark side radiates from him like heat from a sun, and both Jedi stagger back from the sheer power of it. "Yes," he says, his voice no longer warm but cold and commanding. "I am Darth Sidious, Dark Lord of the Sith. I have orchestrated everything. The Trade Federation's blockade of Naboo, the creation of the clone army, this entire war. And I did it all to achieve ultimate power, to destroy the Jedi Order, and to rule the galaxy as Emperor." He turns to Anakin specifically. "And you, Anakin Skywalker, were supposed to be my greatest weapon, my ultimate apprentice. But this foolish woman has ruined years of careful planning. The office erupts in violence. Sidious attacks with force lightning, targeting all three of them simultaneously. Obi-Wan barely manages to deflect it with his lightsaber, but the force of it throws him across the room. Anakin, caught in the open, screams as electricity courses through him. Only Ventress, prepared for this, manages to absorb and redirect the attack using her combined Sith and Night Sister abilities. She charges Sidious, and they clash in the most spectacular lightsaber duel the galaxy has ever seen. Sidious is faster than seems possible for someone his age, his blade a blur of red light. His fighting style combines every form, flowing from Makashi to Ataru to Juyo without pause. He's had decades to perfect his skills, and it shows. But Ventress has youth, fury, and the combined power of two dark traditions. She matches him blow for blow, her dual blades weaving patterns that even he struggles to penetrate. While they fight, Anakin recovers, trying to process what's happening. The man he trusted most in the galaxy is a Sith Lord, the architect of all the suffering and death of the Clone Wars. Everything Ventress said was true, and now he has to decide what to do about it. He could help Ventress kill Sidious, teaming up with a Sith Lord to destroy another Sith Lord, or he could try to arrest them both, trusting in the Jedi and the Republic to handle this. Or he could do nothing, paralyzed by shock and betrayal. Obi-Wan makes the decision for him. "Get help," he shouts to Anakin while charging toward the fight. "Alert the Council, bring reinforcements. We need to contain this." Anakin hesitates for just a moment, then runs. As he races through the Senate building, he contacts Mace Windu and explains the situation. "The Chancellor is Darth Sidious. He's fighting Ventress right now in his office. We need every available Jedi immediately." Windu's response is instant. "We're on our way. Hold position. Do not engage alone." But by the time the message ends, Anakin has already turned back. He can't leave Obi-Wan alone with two Sith Lords, not when his master and friend might die. He returns to the office just in time to see Sidious hurl Obi-Wan out the shattered window. Obi-Wan manages to catch a ledge and pull himself to safety, but he's out of the fight, injured and exhausted. Now it's just Ventress and Sidious, master against master, both at the peak of their power. They've moved beyond the office, fighting across the Senate building's exterior, leaping between platforms and speeders. Anakin follows, joined by other Jedi who have arrived: Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, Agen Kolar, Saesee Tiin. They try to help Ventress, to overwhelm Sidious with numbers, but the Dark Lord is too powerful. He kills Agen Kolar and Saesee Tiin in seconds, his blade moving faster than thought. Ventress sees the other Jedi falling and makes a decision. She reaches out through the Force to Anakin specifically. "Skywalker, listen to me. Sidious is too powerful for any of us alone. But together, if you embrace your full power, we can stop him. Use your anger, use your fear, use everything you're feeling. The light side isn't enough to defeat him. You need the dark side too. It's the same temptation she's been offering for months, but this time, the context is different. She's not asking him to betray the Jedi or the Republic. She's asking him to do whatever it takes to stop the true villain of the war." Anakin, still reeling from the revelation about Palpatine, makes a choice. He opens himself to his emotions, to his rage at being manipulated, to his fear of losing Padme, to his hatred of Sidious for betraying his trust. The dark side floods into him, and his power multiplies. He joins Ventress in attacking Sidious, and together they're devastating. Anakin's raw power combined with Ventress's skill and experience pushes Sidious onto the defensive for the first time. Mace Windu and Kit Fisto join in, and now it's 4 against 1. Even Darth Sidious, the most powerful Sith Lord in 1,000 years, cannot withstand that kind of assault forever. The duel rages across the Senate district, destroying buildings and killing bystanders caught in the crossfire. Sidious fights with desperate fury, knowing that if he falls here, all his plans are ruined. He uses every technique he knows, every dark side power at his disposal. He creates force storms that tear apart speeders. He crushes buildings with telekinesis. He even attempts to dominate the minds of his attackers, trying to turn them against each other. But it's not enough. Slowly, inexorably, his defense weakens. Ventress manages to sever his lightsaber hand. Anakin, channeling more dark side power than ever before, overwhelms his force defenses. Mace Windu delivers the final blow, his purple blade piercing Sidious through the chest. Darth Sidious, the emperor that never was, dies on the streets of Coruscant, his dreams of galactic domination destroyed. In the aftermath, there's only chaos. The truth about Palpatine spreads rapidly. The Supreme Chancellor was a Sith Lord, manipulating both sides of the war. The revelation shakes the Republic to its core. Some refuse to believe it, claiming it's separatist propaganda. Others demand investigations, trials, accountability. The Senate descends into dysfunction, with dozens of factions arguing about what should happen next. The Jedi Order faces its own crisis. They failed to detect a Sith Lord living among them for over a decade. They allowed themselves to become generals in a war they didn't understand. Their moral authority is severely damaged. Master Yoda, in particular, takes the failure personally. Failed we have, he tells the Council. Blind to the dark side we were. Question everything, we must. And then there's Anakin. He used the dark side, embraced it fully, and it felt powerful. It felt right. Now he's struggling with what that means for his identity as a Jedi. He's also dealing with the fact that he fought alongside Ventress, a Sith Lord, to defeat another Sith Lord. Does that make him a traitor to the Order? Or did he do what was necessary to save the Republic? Ventress herself is in a complicated position. She helped kill Sidious, which technically makes her a hero to the Republic. But she's still a Sith Lord who's committed countless atrocities during the war. She's still responsible for the deaths of hundreds of Jedi and thousands of Republic soldiers. Some want her arrested and tried for war crimes. Others argue that she should be pardoned in recognition of her role in defeating Sidious. The separatist movement is also in disarray. With both Sidious and Dooku dead, and Ventress having revealed the truth about the war's origins, many separatist worlds question why they're still fighting. Some want peace immediately, willing to negotiate reunification with the Republic. Others want independence regardless, arguing that the Republic's corruption wasn't limited to Palpatine. And some want Ventress to continue leading them, believing that she's proven herself the strongest leader they have. Ventress makes a public address to the galaxy, broadcast on every available channel. She admits to her crimes, to the people she's killed, to the suffering she's caused. But she also explains the truth about the war, how both sides were manipulated by Sidious, how the entire conflict was orchestrated to give him power. She calls for peace, for reconciliation, for the Republic and the Separatists to recognize that they've both been victims of Sith manipulation. It's a powerful speech, and it resonates with millions across the galaxy. People are tired of war. They're tired of death and suffering. If peace is possible, if there's a way to end this without more bloodshed, they want to take it. Negotiations begin cautiously between moderate Republic senators and Separatist leaders. The talks are slow and difficult, with decades of grievances to work through, but they're happening. But not everyone wants peace. There are hardliners on both sides who believe the war should continue. In the Republic, there are senators who see the revelation about Palpatine as an opportunity to seize power for themselves, to continue the emergency measures and authoritarian policies he implemented. In the Separatist alliance, there are military leaders who don't trust Ventress, who see her cooperation with the Jedi as betrayal. And then there's the matter of the clone army. With Sidious dead, Order 66 is never activated. The clone troopers don't turn on their Jedi generals, but the clones themselves face an existential crisis. They were created for this war, programmed and trained for nothing but combat. What happens to them now? Do they become a permanent military force? Are they integrated into society? Do they have rights, freedoms, choices? The Republic has to grapple with the fact that they created millions of sentient beings as disposable soldiers. The Jedi Order begins a period of intense self-reflection and reform. Master Yoda proposes that they withdraw from military and political affairs entirely, returning to their role as peacekeepers and mediators. Some Jedi agree, believing that their involvement in the war was a mistake. Others argue that they can't abandon the Republic when it needs them most, that withdrawing now would be another failure. Anakin finds himself at the center of many debates. His use of the dark side to defeat Sidious is controversial within the Order. Some see it as a necessary choice in an extreme situation. Others see it as evidence that he's been corrupted, that he's a danger to himself and others. Mace Windu surprisingly defends him, arguing that Anakin did what he had to do, just as Windu himself has walked the line between light and dark through Viapad. But Anakin's biggest concern isn't the Order's opinion of him. It's what using the dark side did to him, and whether he can ever go back. The power he felt was intoxicating, overwhelming, addictive. Part of him wants to feel it again. Part of him is terrified of feeling it again. He talks to Padme about it, revealing things he's never told anyone, and she helps him work through the trauma and confusion. Their relationship, kept secret for so long, is strained by everything that's happened, but ultimately strengthened by their honesty with each other. Ventress, meanwhile, has her own decisions to make. She's no longer beholden to any Sith master. She's not part of the Jedi Order. She's something in between, something unique. She returns to Dathomir and consults with Mother Talzin about her future. The Night Sisters are proud of what she's accomplished, but they also recognize that she's changed beyond recognition. She's no longer just a Night Sister, and she's no longer just a Sith. She's created her own path. Mother Talzin offers her wisdom. Power without purpose is meaningless, she says. You have proven yourself strong, but strength alone does not bring fulfillment. What do you truly want, my daughter? Do you want to rule, to destroy, to protect, to create? You must decide who you are beyond the labels others have given you. It's a question Ventress has never really considered. Her entire life has been defined by others, by loss and pain and the need to prove herself. Her master Kyber defined her as a Jedi in training. His death defined her as a fallen student. Dooku defined her as an assassin and apprentice. Her betrayal defined her as an outcast. Becoming a Sith Lord defined her by the title and its expectations. But now, with all those external definitions stripped away, who is she really? She takes time to consider, traveling alone across the galaxy, revisiting places from her past. She goes to Radatak, the brutal world where she became a warlord. The planet is still torn by violence, still suffering. She could leave it to its fate, but instead she uses her power to bring order, not through fear and domination as she once did, but through strength tempered by something resembling compassion. She breaks the warlords who prey on the weak and establishes a government that can actually function. She visits the ruins of battles she fought during the Clone Wars, sees the mass graves and memorials. She's confronted with the reality of her actions, the thousands who died because of her orders. In the past, she would have dismissed their deaths as necessary or justified. Now, she feels something unfamiliar. Regret, not enough to break her. She's too strong for that, but enough to change her perspective. She even seeks out some of the Jedi she fought during the war, the ones who survived. Most refuse to see her, understandably, but a few agree, curious about what she wants. She doesn't ask for forgiveness. She doesn't claim to be redeemed. She simply acknowledges what she did and expresses something resembling remorse. It's uncomfortable, awkward even, but it's genuine. Some of the Jedi are surprised, others remain skeptical. But the meetings plant seeds, possibilities for something other than eternal enmity. Her relationship with Anakin becomes particularly interesting. They fought together against Sidious, shared a moment of understanding. Now they occasionally meet, not as enemies or allies, but as two people trying to figure out what they are. They talk about the dark side, about power and responsibility, about the ways the Force can be used and misused. Anakin is careful not to let these meetings become corrupting, but he also values Ventress's perspective. She understands temptation in ways most Jedi can't or won't. Ventress tells him something important during one of these meetings. The dark side isn't a separate thing from the Force, she says. It's an aspect of it, like shadow is an aspect of light. The Jedi teach you to deny it, to push it away, but that just gives it power over you. The Sith teach you to embrace it completely, to lose yourself in it, but that's equally destructive. Maybe the answer is balance, acknowledging the darkness without being consumed by it. It's dangerously close to heresy from a Jedi perspective, but Anakin can't deny the logic. He's felt the pull of both light and dark. He knows that denying his emotions doesn't make them go away, it just makes them fester. Perhaps there is a middle path, something between the rigid control of the Jedi and the chaotic abandon of the Sith. As months pass, a new galactic order begins to emerge. The Republic and the former Separatist worlds negotiate a peace treaty that involves significant reforms. The Republic agrees to address the legitimate grievances that drove many worlds to secede. Overreach by the core worlds, economic exploitation, lack of representation. In return, the Separatist worlds agree to rejoin a reformed Republic, one with stronger protections for member worlds' sovereignty. The treaty isn't perfect. Some worlds refuse to sign, choosing complete independence instead. There are still outbreaks of violence as hardliners on both sides try to sabotage the peace. But overall, the war ends not with a grand victory for either side, but with exhausted recognition that continuing to fight serves no one's interests. The Jedi Order undergoes dramatic changes. They step back from military leadership and political entanglement. focusing instead on their traditional roles as mediators and guardians. They also begin questioning some of their strictest doctrines: the prohibition on attachments, the denial of emotion, the rigid hierarchy. All of it is examined critically. Some Jedi leave the Order, feeling they can serve the Force better outside its structure. Others stay but push for reforms from within. Anakin eventually marries Padme publicly, no longer hiding their relationship. Some in the Order are scandalized, but others support him. The compromise is that he's allowed to maintain his marriage while serving as a Jedi, but he's no longer bound by all the traditional restrictions. He becomes something of a test case for a new kind of Jedi, one who can have personal relationships without falling to the dark side. The clone army is gradually demobilized, with clones given the choice of continuing military service or pursuing other paths. Many struggle with integration into civilian society, created for one purpose and now trying to find new ones. Some clones become angry and bitter, feeling used and then discarded. Others embrace their freedom, exploring the galaxy and discovering who they are beyond their programming. It's a long, difficult process that will take generations to fully resolve. Ventress never seeks to rejoin either the Jedi or the Sith. Instead, she creates something new. She establishes a school on Dathomir, a place where Force-sensitive individuals who don't fit into traditional categories can learn. She teaches them to use both light and dark aspects of the Force, to find balance rather than extremity. It's controversial, with both Jedi and dark side users criticizing her approach. But some students thrive under her instruction, becoming powerful Force users who aren't constrained by dogma. Among her students is an unexpected one: Maul, the former Sith Lord, having lost his criminal empire in the chaos following Sidious's death, comes to her seeking purpose. Their relationship is complicated, built on mutual respect and shared trauma rather than trust. Maul struggles with his desire for revenge against Obi-Wan and his recognition that the Sith path led him nowhere but pain. Ventress helps him find a different way, though he never fully abandons his darkness. Years later, when historians look back on this period, they struggle to categorize Asajj Ventress. Was she a villain who found redemption? A Sith Lord who transcended her teachings? A dark side user who carved her own path? The answer is all of these and none of them. She was simply herself, a woman shaped by tragedy who gained power through darkness, but ultimately chose to use that power in her own way. Neither fully light nor fully dark, but something uniquely her own. The galaxy she leaves behind is very different from the one that would have existed under Emperor Palpatine. There's no empire, no rebellion, no Death Star. The Republic survives but changes, becoming more democratic and representative. The Jedi Order survives but evolves, becoming less rigid and more open to different interpretations of the Force. And perhaps most importantly, the false dichotomy between light and dark begins to break down, as people like Ventress and Anakin prove that the Force is more complex than ancient doctrines suggest. But it's not a perfect happy ending. The galaxy still faces challenges. There are still conflicts, still injustices, still suffering. Former separatist hardliners form insurgent groups. Some Jedi, unable to accept the Order's changes, splinter off to maintain traditional teachings. Dark side cults emerge, claiming to follow the true Sith path. And in the unknown regions, ancient threats stir, aware that the galaxy's guardians are weakened and divided. Ventress herself never seeks recognition or reward for her role in defeating Sidious. She lives quietly on Dathomir when not teaching, practicing the Force and continuing her own evolution. She occasionally takes on missions, helping those who need it, but always on her own terms. She's not a hero in the traditional sense, but she's not a villain anymore either. She's something more interesting. A person who made terrible choices, gained immense power through darkness, and then chose to use that power to create rather than destroy. In the end, the question of what if Asajj Ventress became a Sith Lord has an answer more complex than anyone could have predicted. Her elevation to Sith Lord didn't lead to galactic conquest or ultimate power. Instead, it led to a series of choices and consequences that reshaped the galaxy in unexpected ways. It prevented Palpatine's rise to Emperor. It forced the Jedi to confront their failures and evolve. It ended the Clone Wars earlier but messier. And most importantly, it proved that even someone who fully embraces the dark side isn't necessarily doomed to remain there forever. The Force, as Ventress learns through her journey, isn't about light defeating dark or dark consuming light. It's about the eternal dance between them, the balance that comes not from choosing one over the other, but from acknowledging both. She embodies this balance in a way neither the Jedi nor the traditional Sith ever could. And in doing so, she changes not just her own fate, but the fate of the entire galaxy. So what if Asajj Ventress became a Sith Lord? The galaxy would be darker in some ways, with her leading devastating campaigns against the Republic and the Jedi. But it would also be brighter in others, with Palpatine's grand plan exposed and defeated before he could establish his empire. The Clone Wars would end differently, messier and more complicated, but potentially with more hope for lasting peace. The Jedi Order would be forced to evolve or die, ultimately becoming something stronger and more flexible. And one woman, defined her entire life by loss and anger, would finally find something resembling purpose and peace, not through redemption or forgiveness, but through the simple choice to be more than what others made her. That's the power of choice, the thing both the Jedi and Sith underestimate. They believe in destiny, in prophecies, in the inevitable pull of light or dark. But Ventress proves that even someone who embraces the darkest aspects of the Force can still choose their own path, can still change, can still become something unexpected. And in a galaxy torn apart by war and manipulation, that choice makes all the difference.